Well, hello again, everybody. This is Wiskin bringing you yet another exciting gameplay on Black Ops. This one is Deviant and I in with a group of randoms, and as usually happens when I play with randoms, I get kind of tired of trying to win the game when everybody else on the team is kind of like not really helping out. So this is one of the things that results from that. I decided to go with the full Ghost class, Suppressor, and not really try to get the objective at all. Just kind of go for kills. Be that guy that doesn't help out, just to see, I guess, kind of what they would do, but more so just to have some fun, get some kills, and not worry about the win. But again, that's not what we're here to talk about. So I'm going through my subscriptions on YouTube today, and I watch a BossJacoby video on Capture the Flag, his watching the tape or whatever. And in it, each of the teams has possession of the other team's flag, and he mentions that they're in a stalemate. And he goes on to describe the tactics and everything like that. And after the video, I noticed one of the top, or the first comments, not the top comment because it wasn't upvoted, but one of the first comments is somebody saying that, to quote him, "Can someone tell me what a stalemate is? LOL. I feel like an idiot for not knowing." Now, I rarely comment on videos because I don't typically have much to add. I feel like, if you're going to comment on a video, it should be about the video, not something else. And if you've ever read YouTube comments, they always degrade into name calling, and their popular videos have thousands upon thousands of comments, and nobody really reads anything past the first couple. So I don't see a value in commenting. At that point, I'm just adding to the noise in the signal to noise equation there. But this time, for some strange reason, I kind of decided, I'll comment on it. So I responded to his comment and said, Google, maybe? There's no shame in not knowing. The shame is not doing your own legwork to figure it out for yourself. And I'm sure I'll get some nasty response for that or whatever. Probably no response at all, as typically happens on the 3 or 4 times that I've actually commented on a video. But it talks about a larger point that I'd like to make, which is, the world in general is moving at an extremely rapid pace, and it's getting more and more rapid each day. The different projects that are out there, there's new products, there's new content, new techniques, new skills. There's just so much information out there. It's daunting. Nobody can teach you about all of these things, even what currently exists. There's just too much, so you can't rely on either high school or college to give you the full skill set that you're going to need to be successful in whatever your profession is or whatever your hobbies are. It just can't happen. In my day job as a web developer, I'm constantly presented with problems for which I just don't know what the solution is. And that's not a big deal because it's my job to figure it out. Now, nobody's going to give me the answer or say, you can solve that problem using this technique. No, the most valuable skill you will ever learn is how to learn, how to figure stuff out for yourself. And that's part of the problem we have in the computer industry with hiring college graduates. A lot of times they've been through school, and school doesn't really train them for a job in the real world as a programmer. They tend to want all the information up front, like it's an assignment. Like, I want you to do X and Y, and you're allowed to use algorithm Z, and it should perform this well, and I know it'll perform that well because I already know the solution that I want, and I'll grade your success according to that. That doesn't happen outside of coursework. That's a fairy tale scenario where somebody's going to give you all the information you need up front, or even know if the problem is solvable. I get confronted with a lot of problems where it's like, I don't even know if the solution is out there. It's like, that's going to be number one piece of research, is can we even do it? If not, what are the alternatives? And very out of the box thinking. So you have to learn how to learn. And on top of that, there's memorization of things. So there's this concept called transactive memory, and this is a theory where part of your memory exists outside of yourself. The idea that maybe you have a friend that knows a lot about baseball. You don't know all the stats, but if you wanted to know something, you say, like, hey, who's that pitcher that one time that pitched that no-hitter or whatever on LSD? He's going to know it. You don't have that in your memory, but you have memory of the fact that something happened. You have this meta memory or this meta information about, I know this happened, I don't know the specific details, but I can find out how to get the details. I'll ask my friend, Dave or Carl or whoever. And you shouldn't really weigh yourself down with needless information. There's these concepts of there's a book called Getting Things Done, and it talks about if you have a deadline, if you have a bill to pay in June, the first thing you do when you have that is you put it in this file of hey, these are things I need to do in June, and then you forget about it. You don't wake up in the middle of the night thinking oh shit, do I need to pay that bill? Is it June yet? No, you offload it to an external system, whether that's a file folder or a computer or whatever, it doesn't really matter, and then you forget about it. You free up your mental faculties, facilities, processing power to do other things. Who was that actor in that one movie? IMDb. That's the next point. It's you don't necessarily have to rely on your friend Dave or Carl or whoever. You know how to use Google or Bing or name another search engine. That's the only two that I remember, because those are the only ones that are particularly useful to me. And that's an important skill of not having to memorize everything, not having this rote memorization. Now, it's not going to win you any trivia contests. That's a different specialization, perhaps. You're not going to go on Jeopardy and say hold on, Alex, can I use my phone? Can I Google that? No, you're not allowed to Google that. Again, that's a specialized skill. But for general professional life and day-to-day life, you want to offload as much as you can into these external systems. It's even to the point where I've solved different problems with scripting languages. I mess around with a scripting language called awk, AWK, which is this text processing scripting language, and I use it a lot of times for we do imports of these big raw data files. And if you want to go figure out, is the import working? It's well, does what I imported match the raw file? And the raw file is just all unwieldy garbage. But you can use things like sed or awk or grep, all these little Unix commands to kind of analyze the information. And it takes me a little bit to figure out how to use them, because again, they're not programming languages that I work with every day. And when I did come up with a decent solution I was happy with, I actually wrote about it on my blog, and I don't think anybody gives a damn about it. My blog doesn't get much traffic, but one of the top people that frequent that post is me. It's every time I'm confronted with that again, I'm oh shit, I solved that one time. It's oh, I wrote a post about it. So I go and I look at my own blog and my own post, and I remember what I did and adapt it to fit the problem at hand. Again, I've offloaded that. I don't need to memorize it. And you'll see this. This is a sound concept where, as you get older, your mind probably is not going to be as sharp as it used to be. That just happens. You're going to start, thinking man, I've got that guy's name, right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember what it is. And the more you can rely on highly reliable, highly available external systems to handle this stuff for you, and you're just the facilitator, the orchestrator, the integrator of these things, the better off you're going to be. Because you don't really forget anything as long as you remember how to get at that information. Now, if you forget that, you're kind of screwed, or if the internet goes down, you're kind of screwed, but then, really everybody else is too, so you're going to have to rely on something at some point. The same thing, you don't memorize every phone number. It's in your phone. Why would you memorize it? If your phone falls in the urinal and you lose it, maybe you lose contact with everybody if you didn't back it up, but that's all about sound backup strategy, which is probably a talk for another time. As this game winds down, I think we end up 200 to 121. My final, I think, is 42-6 with 1 cap and 3 defends, which is insanely low for me. But it was an enjoyable game, even if I did camp, even if I did use Ghost, which is a big no-no. So what? I had fun. As always, please rate, comment, subscribe, and have a good one.